Abd-al-Muttalib, prayed to God to protect them and the Kaaba from the evil army of Abraha. God answered his prayer and miraculously destroyed the army of elephants with an extremely huge flock of birds. Salamun alaikum, brothers and sisters. There is a chapter in the Quran named Al-Fil, in which there is hidayah for people who understand. Abraha, the Christian ambassador in Yemen, and his army of elephants set out to destroy the Kaaba to divert people from Iraq to Yemen. It was then the grandfather of Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his holy descendants, Abd-al-Muttalib, prayed to God to protect them and the Kaaba from the evil army of Abraha. God answered his prayer and miraculously destroyed the army of elephants with an extremely huge flock of birds, ababil, that dropped tiny stones onto them and turned them to ashes. This miraculous act explicitly tells us about the Iman of Hazrat Abd-al-Muttalib. Otherwise, why would God manifest his miracle on some ordinary kafir person? Hazrat Abd-al-Muttalib's acts are one of the finest examples of leading a godly life. In his dialogue with Abraha, he claims his assets, which were looted previously by Abraha's men, and says, "I owe those camels to people, so I am here to claim them, not to plead in front of you, as I know that God is watching us and he is sufficient to defend his house." This clearly explains that he believed in one true God. Hazrat Abu Talib, who was made the Prophet's guardian after Hazrat Abd-al-Muttalib protected the Prophet by going against his allies and friends. Everyone in the Islamic world claims that a person who is teaching Islam or bringing people to Iman is doing God's work, or rather that God has given them this task. So the level of Hazrat Abu Talib was far better than everyone else who was given the task of raising the Prophet and protecting him against the pagans of Arabia, who did not leave any effort to kill the Prophet. Even on his deathbed, when the pagans came to him and asked him to stop spreading faith, he said the Prophet asks you one thing, and that is kalma, testimony to faith. How can a person favor the kalma if he himself is an infidel, that is kafir? May Allah guide us to the truth and help us to understand the truth.